Ta'ala bless this blessed Jummah for you. And for those of you, alhamdulillah, who started the days of fasting, may Allah Ta'ala bless for you the month of Ramadan. May it be filled with so many blessings. Praise be to Allah who allowed us to reach these blessed days. May we be blessed to fast in them. We are, alhamdulillah, in the 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi. And this week we are taking some advice from hadith number 20 that is recorded in the hadith of Imam Nawawi. So in this particular narration that's on the authority of Ibn Mas'ud al-Uqba ibn Amr al-Ansari al-Badri, may Allah be pleased with him, the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he said, إن ممن أدرك الناس من كلام النبوة الأولى إذا لم تستح فاصنع ما شئت. That whatever from the words of the previous that the people still find are, if you feel no shame, then do as you wish. Right? If you feel no shame, then do as you wish. Right? In understanding what is the meaning of this, is that the very first thing is that this shame, this shyness that is mentioned comes from haya, right? And our scholars of Arabic and linguistics tell us that haya comes from haya, which is life itself. Right? And so, subhanAllah, just to for us to recognize that this is something so significant. From what we recognize is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi is telling us that modesty is from this deen. That every deen, every way of life, every culture, every relationship with Allah, however that path takes, has a dressing. Right? Or every deen has a character. And the character of Islam is modesty. And when we look at what it means, is that modesty is a type of shyness that also still, it comes from a level of humility, right? And so this first humility means that one is humble, not to be humiliated, but to be humble. And to be humble, the first thing is that one is mindful of their actions. One is mindful of their character. One is mindful of their speech. And they want to be careful that their speech and that their actions and that their behavior is never one of lewdness. It's never one of vulgarity, right? Is that vulgarity is something that is low. It's considered low and not from the high levels of dignity. And so what we recognize is that Allah in his infinite mercy, that he dignified us. He dignified us by, number one, distinguishing us from the animals. Right? That we say we're different than the animals. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his infinite mercy has made us people that, number one of the most outward aspects, of course, of modesty is that we're draped in clothing. Right? And being different from the animals. That in our draping of clothing, that our nakedness is covered. And that nakedness gives us a level, if we were to look at the dress of kings and queens, or even the dress of great scholars of old, we always find that their clothes are loose and that they're flowing. They kind of begin to flow with them. It's not something that is tight to the body. And this is from an outward aspect I'm discussing in terms of that first level of humility for men and for women. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands in the Quran, tell the believing men and the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. Right? And so understanding that first there is that first physical barrier, which is saying that my body is my business. My body is my business and my body is my right, right? And no one has, anybody just passing has the right to that. And that is a part of keeping a certain level of barrier, certain level of certain distance between me and another human being, that there's a dignified distance, a dignified almost professionalism and cordiality, right? That exists with the human being that gives them an uprightness, that is different and separate from the animals. So that's just first and foremost from a physical standpoint. If we get into even the verse in the Quran, it begins with another aspect, and that says to lower your gaze. And lowering your gaze in modesty has multiple meanings. It means, number one, that I am not objectifying another human being, that I am careful to guard my heart, right? From even doing that to another human being, that I have the responsibility. And look at how Allah says this: lower my gaze and guard my modesty. That my modesty is at stake. That when I objectify another human being, that I am the one who is guilty of vulgarity. Right? And so initially from the beginning is that to protect our hearts, this goes into the next and deeper level, to protect our hearts from being too loose, to protect our character from being too overly forward in a method that goes into someone else's affairs. That when I have crossed the boundaries, when I have overstepped, right? The portion that I should be concerned with, the portion that is my business, right? The portion that is my affair. And when I delve too deeply into someone else's affair, now I'm minding their business in a manner that is not befitting, right? That objectifies them and is demeaning to them. So in guarding my modesty, I'm careful not to demean myself, and I'm careful not to demean others, right? To not humiliate others in my own practice of humility, in my own practice of being humble. So this is, subhanAllah, some of the first aspects of us understanding about the importance of haya. And the fact that, subhanAllah, as our teachers teach us that this is from, that haya is from life itself, right? That a portion of our life, that to be fully human, to be fully alive, requires some level of dignity, and some level of uprightness, and some level of righteousness. Now, I want to pay a little bit of attention at this moment to the I want to pay a little bit of close attention at this moment to the difference in the translations. And many of the translations, we find shyness equivalent to shame, and they're not the same, right? I want us to understand the difference between shyness and being ashamed. Shame many times can be that I am bad, that I am a bad person, that the essence of me is wrong. And this is incorrect, right? That in this understanding of what it means in terms of the Arabic linguistics, what it says is that I have a humility and a humbleness to protect my own dignity and to be careful not to objectify or to harm with my character other people, to not bring vulgarity on myself and to not bring that to other people. That I make sure that I am a person of light and I do not bring a darkness upon other people, because by doing that, that can make another person feel it reduces their humanity, right? That can make another person feel that they are demeaned, that they are not elevated to the full and true status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them. When people objectify them, this is what happens. You're robbing them of their full humanity, right? But also delving into their privacy, whether I'm looking down into their physical privacy, or I'm looking into their window, or I'm looking into, matters of their concern that are not of my concern. Right? So these are some of the first aspects. The thing that's so important is that when we understand modesty is also very much connected to, it has manners, which are outside, which are connected to morality, right? The manners of morality there's a carefulness and a cautiousness. And that's what's indicated in this particular narration. I want to go and to understand that this isn't something that was unique to Islam. Or should I say, Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barik ala Muhammad. Let me make that more clear. That it wasn't something unique to the last prophet, the last messenger, our beloved master teacher, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That when we say the term Islam, I want to be really careful not to limit that only to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For we know that we claim all of them, that we from Adam all the way, of course, to Dawood and the Zabur and Prophet Musa and John the Baptist and in Isa, Jesus, all the way to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But as we find as a part of the prophetic tradition that's mentioned in this narration, when I say prophetic tradition, meaning that which Allah revealed to the human beings in order to connect the creation to the creator, is that all of the prophets encouraged people toward modesty. Because in this modesty, in manners and in morality. I want to go back into to describe there are two types of shyness. There is a natural shyness and there is an acquired shyness. Meaning there is a natural feeling, right? That if someone, I wouldn't run outside naked to the world. There's a natural shyness where naturally people feel a sense of I should cover up. There's a natural shyness that when I, am handling something that is of a private matter, right? I want to close the door. There's a natural shyness to create a barrier between me and another person when I'm handling matters of my personal business that I don't want someone else to engage in. There's a natural shyness inside of that. There's also a natural human dignity connected to my own elevation that I don't want to be treated as an animal. I don't want to be treated as something less than the full Khalifa that we are, right? And then there is an acquired shyness, right? I know that when, particularly when I was a student in Yemen, I had a one particular teacher who had impeccable manners. I felt like she was very mindful and very careful about even the way she used her hands, the way that she would sit, the way that she would fold her body, the way that she would pick up a pen, the way she would open a book, the way that she would handle the pages of knowledge, let me know that what it began to teach me is something very similar to what is being taught in this narration. And that is the fact that modesty is connected to two things. Number one, it is connected, the acquired modesty, the acquired haya is connected to increase in knowledge, right? It's connected to the more you increase in knowledge, one thing that happens is you recognize how vast the body of knowledge is. You recognize how wide is the ocean of knowledge, and you recognize your small place inside of it and how little you know as compared to what is to be known. And that begins to create a level of humility, of humbleness by itself. So to increase in knowledge, the next aspect is to be mindful of Allah, to recognize that Allah Ta'ala is with me wheresoever I may be, and to be conscious of Allah in my speech, conscious of Allah in my actions and in my character and in my movements and in my stillness, in my speech and in my silence, right? When someone is conscious of Allah and His greatness and His power over us, right? In addition to His mercy, that mindfulness will instill in one a level of humbleness. And then it says, Allah, the fact that you have chosen me, you have allowed me, right, to be a person of La ilaha illallah, and given me a responsibility of khilafah, and given me a responsibility to act in goodness and in justice and to spread light upon this earth, therefore it creates another level of dignity and righteousness, right? And so with that dignity and righteousness, that comes from the knowledge and awareness that I have a responsibility in front of Allah. And this comes to the meat of what it really means to have haya. It comes to the heart of the matter. That true haya, true modesty, true shyness is to be ashamed to stand in front of Allah on the day of judgment bankrupt. meaning that for all the blessings that he has given me, for all the opportunity, all the chances, all the goodness, all the privilege, all the wealth, all the knowledge that he's given me, that I didn't do something with it, that I didn't make the world a better place, that I didn't work hard to enjoying the good and forbid the evil, that I'm too embarrassed to stand in front of Allah with no good deeds on my book. This is true righteousness. I'm too embarrassed to stand in front of Allah and say, oh Allah, you bless me with so much opportunity and blessings, and yet what do I have to show for it? What do I have to stand in front of you and say, this is what I did with what you gave me? This is the heart of true modesty, and it's knowledge and mindfulness of Allah that increases us in that. The other thing is, of course, seeing Allah's blessing over us. That creates in us a humbleness, right? Next thing is good company. Good company. When you're thinking about your own modesty, do you look at the people who are around you? They will affect, for sure, how you understand even the concept of shyness and modesty. Do you have good company? If you have good company, people that are of light, then you naturally will be able to mirror yourself and say, wow, I recognize the goodness and the beauty of them. Let me take some of it. Like the perfume, the hadith about the perfume salesman, right? That there is two types of people. There's the blacksmith and the perfume salesman. That if you are in the company of those who is the blacksmith, you will get some smut on your clothes. The least of it is you will get some smut, some singe on your clothes. But even when you're in a perfume salesman, if you've ever been in the souk in some of the Muslim countries when they're selling those beautiful essential oils, it smells so good. As soon as you walk in and as you leave, some of it is also on your clothes. So the nature of having good company is like being with the one who is the perfume dealer. The least of it is that you will have some of its good smell on your clothes. The next aspect of good company is that you're able to see what good character and good manners look like. And then you want to acquire some of those good characters. Now, characteristics. Now, does that mean that you should compare yourself to another person? No, you can look at a person of good character and want to acquire those qualifications, want to acquire some of the beauty that they have in manners and morality without necessarily comparing yourself to them. In comparing yourself to them, sometimes we'll say, well, I'm not like this person, right? Like maybe, and a lot of times we want to compare ourselves to someone that we may consider lower than us in certain aspects. When in reality, what we should do is look at what is it that Allah and His Messenger have called me to, and how am I measuring up to that? That because in the beginning of the matter and the end of the matter, it is Allah Ta'ala that I'm going to answer to. It is Allah Ta'ala that I'm doing my best to adhere to His commandments and to avoid the prohibitions. That it is the righteousness of Allah, it is the taqwa of Allah that I'm seeking to adorn myself with, right? That is what is going to elevate me. The speech of Allah and the manners and the characteristics and the methodology of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to be the people of goodness and the people of hayat, because hayat is from life, right? And how do we maintain that? That we have integrity. This is the last and final point, is that the person of modesty and dignity is a person of integrity. Who they are in front of the people is who they are being without the people, because they know that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they're dealing with, that they know it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they're answering to, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are accountable to. And so with that, we learn, we are careful about, am I showing more shyness in front of the people and not shy and modest and humble with Allah? Or am I more shy and humble with Allah than I am in front of the people? When those match, because you say it's Allah I'm dealing with, it's Allah with the people and Allah without the people, then we have begun to embody the true meaning of this particular hadith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. this Yawm al-Jum'ah. Bless you in this month of Ramadan. Give us the manners and the morality that is the light and the meaning of this hadith. Jazakumullah alf khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.